Hello. I'm just out here tinkering. G'day, everyone. Welcome back to the spare room, etc., etc., etc. Hey, JB. Hey, Poppy. Peter Noddle, good to see you. Mark Osborne, good to see you. Matty, good to see you. Yeah, nice belt sanders, looking good. Hi, Craig. G'day, John. Rustanox, hello. Not a whole lot to cover, really, tonight. But anyway, it's hot. Fans on, so I hope that's not. I hope you can hear me over the fan. Hi, Stephen. Good morning. You're up early. Good to see you. Rustox, hello. Raymond, hello. Peter, g'day. Hey, Adam. Fridge, g'day. First thing, nice note from Anthony Brown at Ragsdale Creek Workshop and some stickers. It's pretty awesome. He'll be on later to check. So I hope this mail finds you in good spirits. Pray God has blessed your life. And enjoy your channel, and even if I'm too lazy to get up at 5 a.m. to catch you live. Your friend Anthony. Yeah, not good enough, Anthony. But we'll buy the excuse. It's okay. So, a couple of stickers. Probably now we're over here at the mill, which I've got sort of a jury rig camera system here with a broom handle and some G-clamps and blocks of wood, etc., etc., etc. It's not really the answer. But I reckon we could put that over here under Vernon Carry a sticker. So another one on the board. Just so we know, it did actually go on the board. There we go. It's this one here. What have I done this weekend? Yeah, put work on pause. That's the way. Don't run into any rocks, though. You've got to watch that. And you don't want the front to fall off. But apart from that, you should be fine to put work on pause. What have I done this weekend? Set up this DRO, which is a bit of a mental health project, really. I'm probably not going to do a video on DROs. I might do a bit of a video, but probably won't too. Put this glass scale on here. It's on two spaces. The problem with this casting is that it's curved this way as castings are, and it's curved this way as castings also are. So it's got a bulge in the middle, and if you put something on here and on here, not only does the plate you put over the top of them not line up, but nothing else lines up either. And it gets a bow in it when you tighten it down. So I made two little spacer washers to go, one here and one here, and I put two set screws in them for jack screws and adjusted them until they were right. That environment joke's an Australian joke. There was a comedy duo about oil tankers and their safety in the environment. Someone might even find us a link to that if we ask nicely. Clark and Door, yeah, it was pretty funny actually. About an oil tanker that the front fell off. So I've got this piece of 40x3 angle or aluminium flat. You can probably see that there. Set up with gauge blocks against this slide here so that it's right this way. And then I put this slide on here. And set that up this way to this slide, so to the dovetail. So everything is nice and square and straight, and I'm really pleased with that. And then I made a plate to go round the outside from the sensor here, or the pickup, and put a bracket on here and bolted it on here. So that sort of all works. So anyone who's interested in how to set up a DRO on a Centec mill, which is pretty obscure stuff because no one else will, that's how I did that one. I've still got to bolt one on here somewhere, and one in underneath here maybe, or on the middle here somewhere. I don't know yet. Anyway, this camera mount's really bad. There's bits falling off it everywhere, front and everything. DRO's up there. Hang on, press the wrong button, sorry. Hey Tommy. So DRO's up there. Hands free here. Whose t-shirt? This is my work t-shirt, sorry. And that one actually works. I haven't calibrated it, which will be very easy to do. But everything slides nicely. But the camera mount here is broken and I'm a little bit unhappy about that. We're going to have to do something about it, but I'd rather mount my tablet up. You're going to have to bear with me until after Christmas because YouTube live streaming is in a state of flux at the moment, and hopefully they fix the problems. But we're converting across from Studio Classic to Live Studio, and there's some teething problems. So until they get everything online and working, it's a bit of compromise every week because everything's changed. Z is always to access the spindle, but probably not on a horizontal mill if you look it up. Z is the spindle, yes. So this one here, backwards and forwards here, will be Z, hopefully. That's the idea. And then we've got X and Y for coordinates. That's the theory. Because the DRO works, all the fancy functions work on the X and Y, and that's why I've set it up that way. Put a piece of timber in here from top to bottom and mounted this up here, and that all seems pretty solid. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Got a lot of cable to do something with. I've got a mess here. I'm going to hang on. We've got a mess because we're sort of in the middle of sorting this out. Hang on, we'll kick that over there like that and maybe it won't fall off. Maybe. We need to set up a proper camera gantry over here at the mill because right now this is a pain. G'day! Anyway, if we work this number, everything slides up and down like it should, which is kind of cool. How are we going to keep the chips out of it? Good question. We're still working on that. We've got a cover that would go on here, but it's a bit of a pain. The chips only go in the back here, so we should be pretty safe there. Still giving that some thought. Hey, Dennis. Good to see you. So what else is happening? What else is everyone else doing? No video from Mr. Stephen Lang about the new lathe yet. No video from Dennis yet about the old lathe, unless I've missed it. No video from John Creasy about his sonic screwdriver or whatever he's working on. Video from JB about duct tape might be the answer, Russ. Yeah, I'm going to need to hook up probably a ball mount overhead and a piece of tube that I can clamp everything to and move around. I think that's the answer. It's a garden hose. That's what it is. We all do that, Matty. Just upload it. Someone will watch it. That's a daunting job, Dennis. It really is. Hey, Cam. Nice looking lifting attachment, Cam. We all commented on that. It's or we talked about. It looks very professional. It just needs SWL 75 ton stamped in it. Did a bit of messing around on this weekend. I was going to show you. I don't know if you can see that. You can see it probably. Customers are good, Stephen. This is something I've been prototyping, and everyone's probably seen it. It's not all that exciting, to be honest. And it's not. We all need more vices. It's nowhere near finished or ready or even looking like ready or finished. And this prototype still needs a little bit of work. I've printed lots of bits a few times and sort of started like that and shortened it up to that. And sort of thought 15 by 6 would be right for fingers, but it's a bit light, so we've gone to 20 by 10, which is probably going to work. And not having actually seen one of these, it's a German style hold down clamp. I'm not sure Deckel held the patent on them. I know that they made them. I'm not sure that they were the only people who made them, because I've seen huge ones and I've seen pictures of big ones and small ones, and I've got books with pictures in them that some of them look like they were used for holding down propellers in the Queen Mary sort of style, or the Bismarck, or whichever one it was in Germany. And I don't think they were made by Deckel, but I'm not sure. So yeah, it's a staircase for ants. Yeah, if WorkSafe to checking it out, probably you should lay off the duct tape, Cam. So this is going to be a bit different to this, really. It's going to be a bit bigger diameter, and it's probably going to have a bigger footprint and probably a more gradual staircase. And these are going to have a interlock on them so that they don't slip off like that. interlock on here. And this has got a piece of IC-Pole stick stuck in here because this was a modification. I think this one probably, when we get it machined up, I'm going to drill it and put a hardened pin through the back so that this actually clamps on the point over the staircase and the workpiece, rather than try and clamp down on the front, which actually puts a flex in this like this, which I found out. These I were going to make probably out of 01, something like that, ground flat stock. Hey, Mike. Everyone seems to think that these would be done on the rotary table. They're probably right, but there are some interesting little features in here that might take a bit of machining. But we'll still see how we approach that. This one, which is the top, has a similar staircase on it that matches, and a hold down bolt, and this is just an alignment groove. It doesn't need to be anything like as tight as this is. And everyone seems to think that, yeah, I've said that already, but I seem to get a lot of comments about rotary tables when I'm looking at these. So the huge benefit of something like this, it's got a spring in the middle and just an ordinary T-bolt. If we put this on here, and then this spring isn't anywhere near heavy enough, I don't think. And this one goes on here like this. And the hold down bolt goes on top, something like that. And then the nut on top to hold it all down. Clamp it all up on here like such. Like so. So the huge benefit of this is that, as you can see, there's no footprint on this. The problem with this little milling machine, and everyone's little milling machine, whether you've got a Sieg or a Sherline or a Centec or anything else, is that by the time you get something clamped on the table, there's not much room left to clamp it down. See you, Rusty. Good to see you. So this is good because you don't need a jack out the back of the table where there's absolutely nowhere to clamp it to. If we wanted to clamp, say, even as something as simple as a shaft in here to put a keyway in, which is, well, we can adjust it so that it will. But the problem is that there's no space out the back of the table to clamp it to, or out the front if you put it the other way around. So this one, it's got a built-in, I guess, support block, and everything's just one bolt, and you don't have to worry about positioning anything over T-slots or anything like that. So that's what I think they'd be good for. Yeah, one T-slot's interesting, but this one's got two, which I'm kind of lucky. That was one of the, when I was looking for a mill, that was one of the criteria, because a lot of the little benchtop horizontals only have one, and that's a bit interesting. Anyway, I might make some of these, and eventually, don't expect it before Christmas. Isn't the bolt at the wrong end? Yeah, the clamping stud goes down the middle of the cylinder, like as such, and clamps its support here. So it's on here and on here. And as long as this is on that raised bump in the back there, When you tighten it down, it's tightening down over this point and this point. So your support's not actually on this here. It's directly above the staircase and on the workpiece. So yes, it's kind of all back to front. You've got more sticking out this end than out this end. But I'm going to make it a slightly bigger footprint. And to be honest, if I was going to set it up any other way on here like this with this setup, that's the way it'd be anyway. So it's going to be plenty good enough. You're right. You're right, Peter. That's exactly right. But I think we've got to probably live with that, because otherwise, unless we make something huge, and then it's got to be equally as big out this way, probably we could go an extra 10-15 mil out here, and we probably will. So another half-inch bigger diameter. But the reality is, I think they're going to be strong enough to hold something down. Hey, Gary. Hook on the back gives you twice the height, so you can set it up this way, and get, if we go up here, we've got, on this one here, I think I've got about 75 millimeters we can clamp. Hands in the way. Or we can put it that way up and go down here, and we can get down to about 20 millimeters. I think I sort of calculated out 25 mil. So it's a fair bit of difference. I'm struggling to get that much with my ordinary toe clamps and staircase jacks. So pretty happy with that. They just need a little bit more design work, and I've messed around with these for a couple of days, and I've been thinking about them for 3 months, 4 months. But I think this is going to be a bigger diameter, and because it won't matter if this sticks out another 10 millimeters back there over the edge, because your weight's bearing here, and as long as that's inside the edge, it doesn't matter. So they can go that much bigger. And I don't know whether I might shell cast these in bronze. Might be a good way to do it. Probably they're not difficult to machine up out of 12, 14, something like that, and case harden them up. That might be as good a way as anything. Or we could do them in P20 or 4140 or something if we're really feeling energetic. I'm not real sure about that yet. But it's only compression strength really on here, so it doesn't matter much, I don't think, what they're made out of. There's no real torsional or tension strength on any of it. They just don't want to wear out, or the interlock doesn't want to wear off the staircase. So case hardening is probably plenty good enough if we did them in 1214. Could cut the steps on the dividing head. In the horizontal mill, probably because they're interlocked, they're going to have the top flat steps are going to be sat down a bit at the back as you go round, and the other one's going to be the same to match. So probably the best way is just to set it up on the rotary table on a sign plate or such, and use I don't know, you could probably just do them flat if we had a wheel with an angled bottom on it, which I might have in a box there somewhere. It had a 4-inch by 3-inch by 1/4-inch side and face cutter, probably we could nearly sharpen it up so that it cut that okay on the horizontal spindle through here on the rotary table. But I'm not sure yet. Hey Ted, good to see you. Won't the steps be tapered? Max, please. G'day, Max. Can you elaborate on that? War Zellings 57. G'day. They are from you're right. They are tapered. If you have a look at the top of that, I see what you mean. That's what they are. And I guess as long as this piece here is exactly the same and a mirror image, they should still fit together right. That's what I'm hoping. But it'll be another couple of 3D prints before I even get to the point that these are how I really want them and what I want them to do, and then we'll start measuring them up and cutting stock and stuff. So there's a bit of work in them. Oh, g'day, Tom. Hope Penguin's doing nice things for you. Probably not even a slight hook. They'll just have a little bit of an angle back that way on all of them. And it won't be as much front to back, but these ones here should be the same, so they should mesh together. That's my theory. I'm just thinking about this, and this is where 3D printing's really good, when the printer's running properly, which isn't always. But it's really nice to prototype this up and to have something that you can actually look at it and say, this is how it is going to look, and this is where it needs to be improved, and this is where it doesn't touch, and this is the problem with this. Hi, Richard. So there we go. This piece is going to look something like this. It's probably going to be 10 millimeters bigger diameter. It's probably going to have a little bit more draft on the outside. I think it could be a little bit thicker on the bottom. Gosh, we're having a bit of a influx of people from Deloraine. So that's a project I've been thinking about for quite some time. I'm going to have to find some bigger springs than these. This is a bit light. It really is much too light and wants to be about twice the thickness of spring wire. And whether you make some or whether you get some made or whether you find some out of something that are about right. We'll see. But anyway, that's one of the little tool making projects that I really want to get finished. The other hold down clamps that I have are sort of more this style. These come from Little Machine Shop in the States. And they're sort of all right, but they're way too heavy. I mean, yes, they're over-engineered, and yes, that's a good thing, but this on this mill is pretty excessive, really. Absolutely. They're still only the same 1/4 inch bolt. So this is going to be a little bit lighter than this, if you have a look. Quite a bit lighter, probably. If you turn this around so we can see the section. It's only going to be 20 mil, but I might do these at a ground flat stock, and if I set them all up, cut the pieces and set them all up in the horizontal mill, I can just run through them, and they won't take long to knock out. The biggest problem we put in the slot in, and I'm always nervous about that, but the practice won't hurt me. Die springs. We'll touch base about that, Stephen. It's better to be excessive. The problem with this is, though, that you've never ever got time. By the time you put that stud in here, this is always off the edge, and it's really not good. So I think the thing to fix that will be at least a couple of these, and we'll try them out. Might make 4 for a start. Don't have CNC. Don't have CNC, but I do have a 3D printer, which is only a compromise. 3D printers are a problem. I had problems with this, and you can see probably, I don't know, you can see a couple of lines here where it cut out. And the reason it cut out was the plug come loose on the heater, so it was that simple. But you've got to... something that existed before. Yes, back in the dark ages in Germany, I've got some German textbooks that have some pictures in them. German lathe and milling textbooks, things like that, that are fun to look through. I've got some pictures. Deckel, I believe, made quite an array, quite a selection of these, and other German companies must have too, because I've seen huge big ones. I've seen photos recently of some that were probably 8 inches tall, and I've seen pictures of some that looked like bottle jacks, and they were like probably 20 inches tall, it seemed like. So I think other companies probably made them too. So there's something that I don't think we saw very much here. And we recognise the Deckel ones here in Australia because Deckel was about the only German machine that we saw in any quantity. But congratulations on your win with the 3D printer, Adam. Yes, another triangle on top fixes the problem, but it's all bits you've got to hold, and if you've got to hold this one and then sit this one on top of it and hold this down and bolt it down. If you've got something heavy to bolt down on, I've still got a few sets of these, and they're all right, but these will be good for general setup work, I hope. Maybe. Or not. A fixture plate, definitely, or a even a piece of 20mm aluminium with holes in it would be fantastic on this, and I could lay this over the back and cover over the DRO slide. That might be the idea, is to get a bit of probably 3/4, something like that, aluminium, and make it this wide so that the back covers over the DRO, and then we don't have worry about chips and things like that, and bring it out to the front here, and maybe that would solve a lot of issues with this and give me a little bit more table width, which would be great. We still haven't got any more travel in the Z direction, but at this point it hasn't really been a problem until I wanted to bore my 400 engine. I guess I'm going to lose travel anyway, Peter, because I've got to put a DRO slide in the back here. It's about 20 mil, something like that. So I've lost that much already, but I'm not sure this last bit of travel we really use a lot. Yes, it'd be wonderful to get another 20 millimeters out the front here, but if I ever put a new lead screw in, I might extend it and see if we could get another 20 millimeters. But at this point, yeah, it's all too complicated. We could find a 2A table to sit straight on here, and that would be 6 inches longer and have a lot more travel in each direction, but that's unlikely to happen. Craig, thanks. I'm not sure. I should be down in January, but I'm not really sure. Not going to promise on that. Depends on cash and Christmas bonus and stuff. Yeah, box the lead screw out. Peter, you're right. It would only be a couple of days' work to put another inch lead screw on it and use a little bit more of the travel on the table, and I don't think that'd worry anything much. That's something that you could do without too many issues at all, and it'd probably be a really good modification. But until such time that it needs a new lead screw in, that's not going to happen. Thanks, Craig. Progress on the 400. No. That's the short answer, is no. I had things that I wanted to do. I've got this is actually the piece of steel here for the camshaft, which is 4140. I need to set that up between, put center in each end and rough that out and set it up between centers and cut a gear on one end and machine it to fit the 400 and then machine the end of it to fit the cams. But that hasn't happened either because I've been messing around with all this procrastination work. Haven't really got to boring it. Didn't get there yesterday. Really wasn't the weekend for it, and it's pretty hot here. Oh, excuses are things that enable you to not do something, and that's a pretty strong sort of a sentiment, but really it is, and these are just excuses. But it didn't happen this weekend, and I apologise. So hopefully it's this next weekend, because my friend has it set up on his milling machine and it's probably in the way, I would imagine. So we need to get the job done and get it out there and get it bored. I'm still having misgivings about that, but we'll see what happens. It'll probably turn out fine. Every chance. What else? Probably nothing. If I move this camera too much, you're probably going to discover that it's going to fall off. Some awesome stickers on that board there. Craig's Workshop. What have we got up the top there? We've got Maddie's Workshop. Ragsdale Creek, I know he checks in sometimes. We got Where's How, he checks in sometimes. Keith Fenner, Swan Valley, I think he checks in sometimes. I see him occasionally. What do we got here? That's up the top there, Swan Valley. Let's do this. Keith Fenner, Swan Valley. Air Cave Shop. 1970 Chevelle 396. Always Sunny in the Shop. Greens and Machines. Hilltop up the top, Dudley Toolright, Machine NZ, AIDS Workshop, Valley Forge Welding, Woods Creek down there, Active Atom, Build Something Cool, Dale Derrick, Good of the Land, Justin Marriott, Solid Rock. Can we see the front of the machine? Probably. I have this camera attached to a broom handle and I apologise for that. Active Atom you just don't watch the right sort of videos. They've got some awesome stuff, but it takes about 4 days to get through some of their videos. So I've got them on my playlist to watch, but it hasn't happened yet. And I think they're crazy busy over there too. Oh, awesome. I've got a bag full of it too. I try and buy off him as much as I can, and just a little whisper from him that he may have got some offcuts and drops of specialist tool steel that are all nicely labelled correctly. So first dibs on them, but they might be fun to have a look through. But yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one that's onto him about tool steel. I haven't seen Dale either. Dale Derry was with Fireball Tool last week. I saw a video for them too. And Matty, yes, I'm apologising for that. Yeah, it's lead alloy, but it's not bad stuff. And for a lot of things, it's great. If you're making hand wheels and things like that, it's awesome. So I could do a prop out on this if we put a longer lead screw in it. If I ever finish this and put a new lead screw in here, if it ever needs it, you could easily drop this out another 20 millimeters and make this bush here that much longer in here. This isn't much good as it is with the 2 millimeter or the 8 TPI lead screw, because each turn's an eighth of an inch. That's a real pain. That's why we put the DRO on. But there's not really anywhere here to put the slide, I don't think, because this sticks out here, and probably I want to keep this dovetail here because I have used it in the past, and these stops I use all the time. So probably you could put it in underneath here, but it's going to be way down the bottom, and that limits your travel vertically. I don't like it much. I think it's got to go on the back, to be honest. You take care, Dennis. Travel safe. Good to see you. You could make a new T-slot that bolts on the DRO. It's a bit of work. There's all sorts of things you can do, but I really don't see how it can come out here. This was built before DRO facilities were really even available, so I think it'll be right on the back, and we might make it so that if we need to, we can just detach it and take it off if we need that extra bit of travel. But the DRO is what you need, Max, when you haven't got hand wheels with graduation on them. If you have a look at this one here, it's missing. And the vertical, I've got this handle at the back. And if you have a look down here, this little screw with a Tommy bolt hole. That's our fine adjustment. But this is pretty good. and it's got a screen up here that's nearly bigger than the mill, but it's kind of nice, and I'm going to really enjoy that. Other thing we did, if we have a look up here at the VFD, is hang on, is wound it up a bit. So if we, can we get to that? Have a look, that's flashing 119.99, so 120 I ramped it up to. So it's got twice the speed and a bit more. So we're actually got nearly 1,000 RPM on the spindle. So for end mills and stuff, that's pretty nice, and it seems to handle that really well. So that's another improvement I've made. Magnetic scales, all right. They're really expensive though to get the good ones. So if anyone's got a good source in Australia of cheap magnetic scales that isn't Aussie, I'd be interested. But glass scales are probably more accurate and less bother. But magnetic scales are kind of a lot smaller. I think that's where we're at with that. Someone might correct me on that. There's a lot of people on here that are experts. I'm sorry about the slide rule, you die-hard slide rule guys, but this is in my workshop. If we can focus, it's pretty dirty. It gets a hard life. Machinist Calc Pro 2. Love this. If you're working in imperial and metric all the time, like I probably am more than anyone, is I'm scaling across and back. Don't tell Bruce. This is an absolutely awesome thing that everyone needs. Total slave to electronics. No, I'm not really. Anyone who has my undivided attention and opinion on 3D printers will probably tell me that. Will know that. I'm not sure about the Android app. Maybe you can, Craig. I don't know. But it's got some pretty cool features. Drill sizes for threads. Thread sizes. You can fire that up. I'm going to take a step back maybe with this broom. I don't know if you can see that. You probably can. It's pretty dirty. We're 55. We press that button. We got 55 thou. If we put 3125 in there and press that button, we got 300. We've got that doesn't work. I have to think about that. 312 say, and press that button. We've got 0.312. We press this button, and we've got 5/16. If we convert that to metric, we've got 7.9248 millimeters. If we want to find the nearest drill size, 5/16 is 313, and the next one up is 8 millimeters, and it's common sizes. Surface feet, RPM, inches per RPM and IPT, plus the trig. It's got a lot of stuff in there that's pretty useful. Yeah, it kicks around here. It's actually got a cover on it, and I wipe it down every now and again. But it's pretty waterproof, actually. It could do with a blowout at the moment, probably. But use it 5 times a day. And yes, the books get you a long way. The only thing that this calculator for me would improve with is if it had BA threads. That's the only thing it doesn't have, really. It gets clean 12th of December. Probably be Friday the 13th with my luck. But if you're converting drawings and scaling drawings, old-fashioned drawings, it's a good thing. If you're just working in metric, you probably wouldn't use it a lot, to be honest. So there you go. Yeah, I clean it once a year, even when it's not needed. What else? Actively looking for a vertical head for this mill. Anyone who knows where there is one, if we go up here, it bolts on this dovetail. There should be a riser block and then a vertical head. There's people like that, Paddy. Yeah, there's vintage calculator people they're mostly snobs and they're not worth talking to, but they're out there. I know that. I didn't mean that even a little bit. You know who you are, everybody. You're not the only one, Paddy. A vertical head's doable. And I don't have enough life and I don't have enough big machines to do jobs like that. The last few jobs I've done, I've really missed having a big machine to work on. Anyway, take care, Maddie. Good to see you. I think this is probably worth investing in. It's certainly a lot better than it was, and it's starting to get to the point that it's going to be fairly useful. I've got the wood laid out, and it's a bit of a nuisance actually, because I've got to step around it here. So I'm running out of room back here. I'm thinking that the Z-axis slide might go inside here. That's the theory with that. That's where I'm thinking, but oh, the other job I did this weekend. How cool is this? Check this out. I put a bigger boat. Yeah, I deserve that. I put Barton Oilers in here because... Take care, JB. Good to see you. Put Barton Oilers in here, this end and up the other end as well, this weekend, because they just had a hole in here with a piece of dowel stuck in them. It needed a pair of pointy nose pliers to pull in and out so that you could oil it to keep the dirt out. So that was a real pain. So that's another job that I've done this weekend that took about half hour. I think I did that while I was on the telephone to you. Ted, I think that's what I did when I was talking to you. Anyway, you're all dropping like flies, so I might go and get some dinner, and I've got a big day tomorrow because Christmas has started, etc, 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 and there's a bit of a rush happening. But that's the update on the milling machine. You got to know where to get them, Tom. These, I think... Yeah, McMaster Carr, they're not expensive. They're only expensive in Australia. That's a bit of a problem. But I think these ones come from Mini Bearings. I think that's where I got those from, and I don't think they were particularly cheap. But Mini Bearing, miniaturebearings.com.au, I think they carry those sort of things. But yes, the lipped ones were fairly expensive. I've still got half a dozen or more of them there, so I must have bought a pack of them somewhere. Yeah, totally doing a stream on Christmas Day. There may be some giveaways too, but that's off the record. So if you do tune in, there might be some cool stuff. That's where these come from, John. You've got it. LPR Toolmakers is where I bought them. Yes, spot on. Spot on. That's where they come from, in Melbourne, LPR. I remember now. That's where they come from. Anyway, there might be, I might have some things to give away or post out or something on Christmas Day. So if you tune in, it might be fun. Otherwise, if you don't, you'll catch it later. Anyway, I'm out. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate the network and the community, etc., etc., etc. Don't let anyone tell you what to do. Be kind to each other in particular, and more soon.